Good evening. Welcome back to Gay as in Happy. I'm your host, Ja'Mel Ashely, a seeker of happiness. I'm really glad that you guys came back in to join me on this journey towards happiness. We will be speaking with a lot of brilliant, opinionated minds over the next few weeks to learn how they found happiness for themselves. Man, these people are from different backgrounds, different walks of life, economic, racial diversity. And I am so glad that they have decided to join us. Tonight, we have a very special guest. But before we get into that, the question of the evening is: what has made you happy in the past week? My wonderful producer, director, he has many hats, many titles that he wears. We'll be collecting your answers over the next few segments, and we will come back to them. For now, let me see. What has made me happy over the past week? Cuddle time. Man, you just don't really understand. I am a teddy bear. I don't care how serious my face look or how serious my voice is. At the end of the day, I turn into mush and I'm a teddy bear. I just want to cuddle and snuggle. And I've got lots of that this week. And I'm just happy. I'm so happy about that. There's one other thing too that has been very significant in this past week. I have learned to trust myself. As an entertainer, as a creative, as an artist, we often go through times where don't we just don't trust ourselves. We second guess ourselves. And I learned this past week that my first mind is the best mind and is always the right mind, because that is usually what God has planted inside my spirit. So I've learned to go with it, and I am so happy about it. So happy about it. Enough of me. Remember, the question is: what has made you happy in this past week? Send in your answers and we'll get back to those in a few. For now, we're going to move right along into our game from last week, the meme game. We're going to do a little different than we did last week. So, this time we're going to do 4 memes. I'm going to make a caption for 3, and then we are going to leave one for you all to get a chance to win a prize. We have a winner from last week. Cannot wait to announce who that winner is. It was a lot of fun, guys. I'm looking to have the same amount of fun this week. All right, Fonz. What do we got here for the meme game this week? Oh, oh, okay. So this gives me that. Let me tell you what's happening on the other side of the phone. Oh, how was the funeral? He said, "Girl, it was a mess. Let me tell you, Niecy got 7 kids, and them Clark sisters was acting a fool." Ha! Oh, monkey see, monkey do. That's not my caption though. Let me see. This is what happens when the person you've been talking to all quarantine actually thinks you about to be in a relationship. When this is all done and over, you done messed up. Ha! Freak out. Shit. Trump actually thinks that this is an authoritarian fucking government. Please help me. I'm pretty sure this is how the Handsmaid started. Now, we have the meme for you all. One lucky winner will win a prize from Intellectual Ratchet next week based on the best response to this meme. You have until midnight tomorrow to get your answers in. That means not midnight tonight, but Friday turn it into Saturday. Y'all get that? I know midnight can be a little confusing sometimes. When people tell you you got till midnight, well, you don't know if that means you got till today or till tomorrow. This is Friday turn it into Saturday. What is your meme for this, your caption for this meme. And shout out the game, What Do You Mean, for creating lots of fun. We have decided to take the rules and flip them around a little bit so that we can hear what you all have to say. Enough of that. 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 Fonz, do we have any answers for what has made people happy over the past week? Let's see. That is all right. We are going to continue moving to the mantra of the week. The mantra of the week. I'm not about to stress myself tonight. I actually had to tell myself that right before this. I started this to have some fun and to get through the quarantine, right? We all need different ideas and understanding of how to get towards happiness in times of uncertainty. So let me tell y'all again, the mantra of the week is I'm not about to stress myself tonight. Don't let nobody stress you out. If it ain't gonna get done tonight, go to sleep. Stop stressing out. Tomorrow is another day. If they blowing up your phone and you don't want to talk, put it on silent. Turn it off. Block them. Don't let nobody stress you. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I promise you that. I promise you that. We're going to move right along into current events tonight. Tonight, we will be talking about Bernie endorsing Biden and the Clark sisters. I know y'all watch that Clark sister movies. Oh, my. Honestly, I don't really have much to say about this. In today's news, it's more white men scratching each other's back, point blank, periods. And I just feel bad for poor Bernie. He keeps trying, and he just cannot get it in. He's almost like a 40-year-old virgin. I don't know what is going on with Bernie. But you know what? He's giving us a lot of great ideas, and maybe Biden will run with a few of them. Who knows? Moving on. Oh, baby. Them Clark sisters. Now, hold up. First of all, we know it's a few details missing in this movie. Now, why did they not make this a Netflix docuseries? This should have been a Netflix docuseries. We missing too many details. And how in the hell did Niecy have 7 kids that nobody knew about? That just don't make no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Somebody is lying. Somebody lying? I think somebody lying. What else? What else I got to say about that? And of course, we already know that funeral scene was classic. I know y'all have been to a funeral where somebody is cutting up like that. Oh, that's my mama too. We know that's your mama. We know. Everybody here know. Calm down. Cool. And I understand. Hey, trust me, I done been to a funeral of a parent. People cut up. But we know that's your mama. That ain't changed. Calm down, child. Calm down. So, moving right along, because I want to get to this guest today. We have a really special guest today. Our guest is the most intelligent, most down to earth person that I have ever met. And I cannot wait to jump into a conversation with them. But first, we need to find out who won last week's meme game. Fonz, will you tell us? Do 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 do.
You are a winner! All right, hey, before we give you this gift, I want you to tell the people who you are.
Hey y'all, I'm Zarion Newbill, founder of the number organization, which is an organization, organization for women of color.
All right, we got to stay 6 feet, so I can't come over there. I'm going to toss this to you, all right?
It ain't breakable, is it?
It might be.
Oh, hell.
This is a quarantine necessity. It is rare and hard to find these days. That's why I couldn't give you a lot.
I'm done. I already know what
I
it
couldn't give
is.
you a lot, but I had to give you one. Oh my God. I got the tissue. I got the tissue.
Got the tissue. I got the tissue.
This is
I'm done.
Ja'Mel Ashely, Gay Isn't Happy. Be sure to check out BMO Inspiration on Facebook and YouTube.
Yes.
Fun surprising Zarion with that roll of toilet paper. Remember, this is all for shits and giggles. But really, toilet paper is hard to find, so that was a rare commodity. I really struggled with giving that toilet paper away, but I had to give something away, and that was this week's gift. So remember what this week's meme is? It's that old white lady sucking on that popsicle, looking a little weird. You have until midnight tomorrow. That's Friday. Turn it into Saturday to enter your best, and I mean your best, caption for what's going on in this photo. And you, too, could be a winner. Oh man, that was a lot of fun. We're gonna move on into our interview. People of the free world, I would like to introduce our guest this evening, Zerandrian Morris of Ignorant Intellectual Group. Z is a racial equity specialist from New Orleans who is currently living in Harlem, New York. I have known them for quite some time. I'm happy to call them Pops, and I'm excited to get this interview going.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, Pops?
What up, son?
How you doing?
I'm cracking up. I didn't know it was about to be all that in the beginning. I was cracking up to the point where I had to change the due dates on my papers for my students because they couldn't figure out what midnight was. We had to change that to 11:59 p.m. because they were confused.
People get confused. They get confused. All right, before we jump into this interview, though, we're going to play a little game called This or That. You ready?
No, because I'm a Libra. And I can't choose.
I'm going to make you choose tonight.
All right, this or that.
I'm going to say two things. You can only pick one. We're going to start out easy for you, all right?
All right.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Past or future?
Future.
All right, so we're going to jump into some artists here. Got it?
Oh,
Erykah Badu or Lauryn Hill?
Oh, shit. What?
This or that?
We gonna go with 2000s Lauryn when she came to concerts on time.
Bet, that's fair. That's fair enough. You don't want to waste your concert money.
I didn't stood at one of her concerts and she never showed up. But go ahead.
Ooh, he did. Tupac or Biggie?
Pop.
Clark Sisters or Mary Mary?
Clark Sisters. Not because they had a new movie out either, but Clark Sisters.
All right, bet. All right, we're going to do a little 90s TV edition.
Oh, Jesus.
The Hughleys or the Parkers?
The Parkers.
In Living Color or Living Single?
Living Single.
The Jamie Foxx Show or the Wayans Brothers?
Jamie Foxx Show.
All right, bet. And that was This or That. You did well. You did well.
That wasn't too bad. I don't think I ever saw the Parker. What's the other one? I don't think I ever saw that.
The Hughleys?
Yeah, I don't think I ever seen the episode.
D.L. Hughley never saw a show?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well.
And then Mary Mary without the Clark Sisters, so that was easy.
Fair enough. That's fair.
That was easy.
All right. We got your brain jog. You feel you ready to jump in?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the first question. Actually, let me back up before I get into this question because you recently said something on Facebook. Let me tell y'all, Z has the best Facebook statuses that anybody could ever curate. They are thoughtful, they are ignorant, and they are intelligent.
They ignorant as hell.
Yeah. So recently you said if your inner circle isn't walking in their destiny, you probably aren't either. Can you talk to us more about that?
Yeah, it's probably true. Like I specified inner circle because I think we all have friends and people around that are not inner and that might not be walking in their destiny and they can still be around. But if your core tribe ain't walking in their destiny, you probably not either. And if you're the smartest in your group about all things,
then
you
you have
probably,
messed up.
yeah.
I'm right there with you on that.
If you're the smartest on all the topics, and like, but back to the main question, if your inner circle is not walking in their destiny, I struggle to see how you are walking in yours, because something don't add up. Like either you withholding or you shrinking. Something ain't right.
So I want to stick with this for a minute here. What about people who are just simply loyal to those that they have grown up with?
Then that's not walking in your destiny. If your reason for being somebody's friend or for somebody being in your inner circle is just time, and you know that relationship has outgrown itself, that's still shrinking.
What do you suggest to those people?
So I mean, that will go back to the conversation I guess we're gonna get into. Happiness. Like, how is there true happiness if you are playing small?
That's good. That's good right there. Whoo! All right. We ain't. I ain't telling you I was asking you all that, but we're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna leave it right there. Because that is a gem right there. How can you ever have true happiness if you are playing small? So that leads us right into our first question of the interview. Pops, what makes you happy?
Being able to exist with no chains, no. And when I say exist, I don't necessarily mean this big thing. I mean, like, it can be something as small as not having to wake up to an alarm clock and rush nowhere. Or something as big as having buku money in the bank. Right. And so when I talk about happiness, I'm not saying it has to be one macro big thing all the time. Like, I can wake up and not have to go nowhere because I don't have no job to go to and I don't have money in the bank. Or I can wake up and I'm not as happy. I am happy that I don't have to go nowhere. But for me, happiness is very micro and can be big too at the same time. I don't overlook the small moments, the small things.
It all matters.
Like Adrienne Maree Brown says, the small is all. We are taught that the big is everything, but really the small is all. And I do not overlook the small.
That's what I think a lot of people struggle with appreciating the small.
Yes, because we're taught to look for the big.
Yes, we live in a society that doesn't teach us to stop and smell the roses. And I'm right there with you. I know I recently saw you in New York, and one thing you said to me was that you could feel the weight that was lifted off of me.
Yeah, and you had way different energy.
I met you
2009, 2008.
2009, 8, something like that. Yes. So over the decades, so much has changed, but the biggest thing was learning to be appreciative of the things that I already have.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with you. Thank you for that insightful answer. You know, for years I struggled with my identity. When we met, I was in the midst of struggling with my identity. And I probably would say it's been until most recently, the past 2, maybe even 12 months, where I have felt a sense of approval of self. So before I jump into the deeper questions, I want you to tell folks how you identify.
So this answer, I guess, is going to be bound by English and bound by the society we live in. So when I saw you, you looked like you, which was, I can't say that. It's like when you see somebody and then you're like, oh no, that's you. The you I met was your existence. Like, I mean, you was inhaling and exhaling, but this is you. But anyway, so there are words that people use. I just, my favorite is just Zerandrian. Like, that's just me. Like, I talk all the time about these pronouns, which I respect and I understand the need for them, but my identity sometimes gets diluted by trying to describe it with words.
Understood. Call me by my name.
And that's the hard part is when people say, how do you identify? I have to then all of a sudden try to add language to my identity, and then immediately it becomes diluted because now I got to try to convey to you with words, not to be deep, but especially with words of a colonized language like English, which does not have many descriptions compared to other languages.
Fair enough.
So there's some words that people use like non-binary. I can get with that one. I describe myself as a girl because I was a girl, and that was an identity that was cool. And it was somewhere around child development when I was no longer a girl, but maybe something else, becoming a woman, which is why I don't really resonate with the word woman, because I never evolved to that place in the confines of the way we define women. I can get with non-binary. My favorite is agender, a meaning without gender, because I don't feel like I have a gender at all. I most connect with women's spaces because I don't know how to be a man. And so my identity is ever evolving. Like I went to an all women's college, all girls, same sex college. I went to the same all girl high school, and those places feel comfortable. I don't think I would feel comfortable at an all boys school.
Understood.
But I don't identify as a Spelman woman. I identify as a Spelmanite, and it's one of my most proud identities. But so I guess girl fits, non-binary fits. I really don't feel like I have a gender at all sometimes. Like it's just Zerandrian. Or Shoni. It depends on, what you call me. If you call me by my nickname or my government name.
Okay. No, I definitely have always gotten that from you. And I know there are many more people today than I ever remember that actually identify as genderless. Like,
yeah,
people are who they are. And gender seems to be very constricting and confining. And as human beings and as spirits, we are more fluid than that.
Yeah.
So would you say that self-discovery of your identity or just of self is a journey or a destination?
It could be both. I think once I meet all my destinations, I die, right? Like, I'm not living. But sometimes I get to destinations, like arriving to the place of knowing that I don't have a gender, but that I connect with girls, women, as far as socialization. And that's why it's so hard to articulate this, because we live in a society that gives us frameworks, and that's the frameworks I have. I'm not from another society that has other frameworks.
Right.
So self-discovery, I pray, is parts of it is always going to be a destination. I mean, a journey. And yes, I get to little destinations along the way. Like I came out as gay, and then I came out as non-binary, which are two very different things. And I think my mama and Black folk generally can get the gay thing, but then when you start talking about gender, they be like, okay, bitch, nah.
Too much. Hold up.
Too much.
Hold up.
So self-discovery depends on what I'm discovering. I would say overall, it's probably a journey, but I get to different destinations.
So when you arrived at the destination of understanding that you just don't live in these boxes.
No.
You are yourself. You are Zerandrian.
I'm Zerandrian. I need you to say my name right. 10 years. Just say Z. But actually, that is something that's a level of self-discovery. So I used to let people butcher my name.
Right. Okay.
Then I was like, no, wait a minute. So yeah, Zerandrian. Go ahead. What's your question? I'm sorry, I interrupt.
I'm like, oh. Okay, let me jump back in.
Go ahead.
My bad. My apologies. See, that's why I just call you Pops.
Right.
When you reach that destination, how do you think it affected your overall happiness?
Well, self-discovery is your overall happiness. Like, I didn't know that I am unhappy when I have to wake up in a rush and rush somewhere. I didn't know that made me unhappy until I discovered myself, because we live in a world that's kind of normal to wake up to an alarm clock and have to take a bath, eat breakfast, and get out the house, because that's so normalized. It wasn't until I started discovering parts of myself that I was like, I actually don't enjoy that. That actually fucks up my entire day. And I don't want to do that. I didn't know until I learned more about myself. And I have to be clear, we cannot beat ourselves up for the parts of ourselves that we don't know yet.
Yes.
Like, we can't, that's not even wise to beat yourself up about. We are always, you make the decisions from what you have, the tools and the places you are at the time. But I didn't know that I couldn't articulate why a woman felt so not me until I discovered myself and could say with courage in public that that's not me. You know, because some of self-discovery and happiness also is hinged on advocacy for self.
Yes. Very much so.
Especially if your self-discovery counters the narrative, the stock story, or the norm, you're going to find yourself in a lot of places advocating for yourself in front of a whole bunch of people who have opinions about who you should be.
You said a very, you used the word courage.
Yeah.
Where does courage to say something that is so outside of societal norm come from?
Well, a lot of us would probably say God or something bigger than self, or you might just get to the point where you don't give a fuck and just be like,
that's me.
Y'all could take it or leave it.
That's me. I don't give a fuck.
Because I know I do that. I'll be like, you know what? This ain't about God. I just don't give a fuck what you feel.
The mantra for this week is, I'm not about to stress myself
out. Listen, son, I can't.
Yes,
yeah. So I think that's where the courage comes from, or it can just come from just flat out fatigue. Like, I'm just tired of fucking trying to please y'all. Can I curse on this show?
We doing it.
Try to watch my language. Yeah.
We doing it. We not on ABC yet.
But that does take a level of courage because you talking about my happiness or your happiness, and our individual happiness is about us.
Yes.
And that, to be able to do that, may tick people off, because I think that people have their definition of what someone else's happiness should be, whatever the relationship is, parental, lover, friend. And that this new concept that we didn't call boundaries might tick people off, because the point of boundaries, I'm guessing some of that is to create happiness in my life.
Okay, you know what? We got to move on. Because I want to go deeper into that, but we won't save that for another topic for another night. All right. So you and I, we met in Madison.
Yes.
Mayonnaise, Madison, Wisconsin. I was in undergrad, and you were in a PhD program.
Yep.
What made you leave your PhD program?
Unhappiness. I think it was like the biggest happiness move. So I was, I'm 40. So I think I turned 30 in Madison. I think we went to Red Lobster or something. So I was in my 20s my late 20s when I got to Madison. And I'm gonna try to make this short, because that Madison story can go all kind of different ways. But it was the most white city I had ever lived in. It was not the most white institution. And I learned a lot about how PhD programs are structured. So if you look at, say, U.S. News and World Report is the place you go to get rankings for PhD programs. Most PhD programs so Madison is the #1 PhD program in sociology. And that's the program I was in. I did not know Madison was #1. When I went there, they responded to my little email and they gave me a full ride. So I went to Madison. I was not chasing the ranking. I ain't have no idea till probably the weekend they bring you out there after you accept it.
But that's how they get people of color there.
That's how they get you.
Them full rides.
Correct.
Please
5 years.
Please come.
Please. We can't keep nobody in cold Wisconsin. Can you please come? So anyway, U.S. News World Report, most PhD programs in the soft sciences, sociology, anthropology, psychology, most of the ones that rank high are going to be theoretical thinking programs, meaning you would be hard pressed to find a high ranked PhD program in those sciences that are practical or applied programs or doing the work. They're the programs that rank high, or the thinking, the ones that produce theorists.
Okay.
But if you know anything about
Madison
is known for theory.
Yes.
But people like us from inner cities, New Orleans, Detroit, we are just theorists because we live in the world. So we could walk through the world and be like, that probably happened because of X, Y, and Z. That's a theory. We theoretically look at our world, but if you put that with the way we grow up, that's probably not the most valued thing. So I get to UW thinking, okay, this is going to be cool. And I find out that, so beside the fact that it's really, really cold and I'm from a really hot place like New Orleans, and I actually had broke out from the cold. I forgot the name of it, but it's like an allergic thing that happened to me and some other people from hot places.
An allergic reaction to Wisconsin?
Yeah, I had to get on antihistamines in Madison.
Oh, wow.
And my friend Emma, she wound up graduating. She had to get on antihistamines because she's from Cali. So the doctor was very familiar with whatever we had. And Madison also the students are unionized and they have health insurance for students in PhD programs.
Yes, we do. I missed that. Let me tell you.
So I ain't pay nothing for none of that. And so all of these things are happening. I also realized I don't quite know if this is actually what I want, because PhD programs can be unlimited time. Like it could have took me forever to finish that dissertation. And one singular thing was the straw that broke the camel's back. I was already leaning towards being like, this ain't whatever, this ain't it. So when you hear somebody come with a theory, and so often the things that people write about in PhD programs never make it to the people in the world. And I'm always going to be about, but how will this impact people that I know?
Yes, yes.
So sometimes 9 times out of 10, the stuff that is the theories created in the ivory tower go in a book, and JSTOR don't even have, outside of coronavirus, because they've opened up their access. But typically JSTOR does not have, anybody and everybody can't even get to the peer review journals on JSTOR. They're usually, you got to pay for it.
Right.
So the average Joe is not even reading the stuff that you publish in a PhD program. But what I also was hook, line, and sinker for me to be like peace was, I had a friend who was two cohorts ahead of me struggling with his theory. He wasn't struggling with designing a theory. He was struggling with his committee approving his theory. So one thing you have to do to get a theory approved is if Ja'Mel develops a theory, that's not good enough. You have to hook your theory on what is called existing theoretical frameworks. And so existing theoretical frameworks are typically the sociological canon, which means dead white men from either Paris or somewhere in Europe. And so you have to hook what you saw in Detroit in the 80s with what Bordeaux saw in France in the 50s. And you have to make that somehow work with your existing theory.
Is this all PhD programs?
This is a typical process. And so what that does is dilute everything that comes out of the academy. Because what I saw in New Orleans in 1985 may not be able to be hinged on anything that exists, because I'm watching my world. But what they're essentially saying is we can pay you for 5 years to come here, but your little black brain ain't good enough to publish your own thought. You must hook it onto some white man who has already published.
Wow.
That was it for me. I was like, wait, what? By the time my friend theory got published, it didn't look nothing like what he was saying he saw in Brooklyn as a kid.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
And when we look at statistics, I don't mean to be so deep, but when we say 80% of professionals in academia and psychology are white, that means 80% of every theory, 80% of all of the behavioral therapies they use, and for us to go to therapy, that's all out of the minds of white people. 80% of all of the things that our therapists, they say, Black people, go to therapy, go to therapy. 80% of the theories that they use to treat us, the behavioral processes, is out of the minds of white folk. I need theories and behavioral stuff that's coming out of the minds of people that grew up with me.
Yes, yes.
That's not happening.
How do you change that process? That's so.
I didn't stick around long enough to change
To figure it out. So you don't know. That I had no idea that's how most PhD programs worked.
Theoretical programs.
Theoretical programs. Excuse me. I would think that one having a theory and being able to back up that theory would be.
But you have to back it up with existing theory.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So that is perfect to lead into the next question. They both sound like a very challenging and a toxic environment.
Yeah.
What is the differentiation between a challenging environment and a toxic environment?
And to be clear, it wasn't toxic on an overt level. It was not toxic because professors are actively doing things every day. Or like UW would say, we fund all of y'all. Y'all have, unlike many other schools, y'all have student unions and y'all have full health benefits. That's not
$1 billion student unions.
Listen, UW got old school unions that old good unions.
Oh yeah,
that was some good insurance. So it wasn't toxic in that sense. But when you start talking about the ways in which you're mandated to operate, the ways in which the procedures and the policies work, the way in which you must hook theory onto existing theory, that's toxic.
Right.
And so for me, all toxic environments are challenging. That's inherent. But all challenging environments are not toxic.
Okay.
So any toxic environment you're sitting in is going to be a challenge to you, unless you have come to the point where the toxicity is normal, and that happens too, where we just so used to, I
just said all too often.
All too often, we used to it. Like people say all the time, I know this demon, so I'm gonna stick over here. It's that you're trying to make me go heal and get better. I don't know healing and better, so I'm gonna stay toxic. So. Challenging, yes. I would go for challenging any day. A challenging environment is an environment that's going to grow you and make you think different. But a toxic one, I see people all the time in these binder groups complaining about their committees and complaining about their professors. And often my question is, to what degree do you go in the academy? How much toxicity are you going to put up with for a piece of paper? And I don't want to reduce it to like just a piece of paper, but it's so much. And I'm not trying to dog people who choose to stay in their PhD programs, but there is a limit on how much toxicity one should take.
It's true. But we do live in a society that encourages us to just take it.
To take it.
Yeah. So how did leaving the PhD program impact your view of happiness?
Well, I think it was my first adult decision to choose happiness.
Okay.
And I remember when I left one of my friends in the program, in another PhD program, because UW across its schools loves trying to recruit Black folk. Nobody's gonna pay for a PhD at UW that's Black. You shouldn't pay for a PhD program as a Black person anywhere in the United States. I just want to say that. Period. But it was and I remember my friend was like, how could you because people kept saying like, why are you leaving? Did somebody die? I'm like, no, I'm leaving. But where you going? I don't know. I really did not know where the hell I was going.
I remember being confused. Like, I don't know people that leave PhD programs.
And I made a promise to myself that I was going to do everything without a PhD that I would have done with a PhD. And it was my first, it goes back to that. When you choose happiness, you're going to piss some people off. You're going to confuse some people.
Because you're taking the road less traveled.
Correct.
Yes.
So that leaving that program was one of my first big adult decisions to choose happiness. I was very clear that I was not happy and was not going to be happy in a PhD program. And don't get me wrong, you can make choices playing a long game. And I support those choices. So if you know that this short-term unhappiness is going to lead me to long-term happiness, I absolutely understand that. But that was not what was going to be happening at UW.
Understood.
So that was what that was. It was that choice to leave. All y'all was confused. Was happiness.
I think when I think back about that time and hearing now actually why, and being in a place where I can actually understand why you left, I commend you. I didn't understand before.
Yeah.
But when I left Madison, it was for that exact reason. I had been running a successful company for 3 years, and I said, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. And everybody was so confused.
Yep.
You are just getting started.
Yep.
There's so much more you can do. Not here.
Here.
No. It was killing me.
Yeah.
It was literally killing me. I had been there for 12 years, and I didn't realize how much of a toll being in a place where I didn't see myself represented was taking on me. So I appreciate you for sharing that, and I'm proud of you. Like, you have done everything you said that you were going to do with a PhD without one. Without one, yes. So,
and I didn't have this crystal clear vision when I left, but I think so. My favorite scripture is Hebrews 11:1, and it defines faith. And I'm not, although I was raised in a church, I don't go to church every damn Sunday. I might go to church once. I am back to being at Easter, Christmas.
You an Easter Sunday.
Oh, it's so bad. But Hebrews 11:1 defines faith, and it is one of the most brilliant definitions. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. That don't even make sense. If you don't hope for something you have. It's the evidence of things you can't see. If you can't see it, how do you have evidence? That's the thing. It is the substance of something you are hoping for. If somebody say, man, I hope I win $1 million, nobody would describe that as having substance of that. You hoping for it. Right. So what I say all that to say is when I left Madison, I didn't have the crystal clear vision of, oh, this is setting me up to da-da-da. I just knew that I had to go. I literally was leaving on faith. But I couldn't have articulated all of this and had this deep knowing that I have now. But sometimes you just have to move when spirit is moving you.
Yes. Oh.
Spirit might not tell you ahead of time, this is why I'm moving you. Like I was laying in my...
the outcome is going to be.
Exactly, Ja'Mel. Yes. And that's how I got to New York. I was laying in my bed in Philadelphia because that's where I went after... like a year or so after I left UW, chasing a girl.
It happens.
And Spirit said, move to New York and I will show you the rest. I said, what? I'm laying in my bed looking up. I'm having one of my nights where I'm not depressed, but I was sad. I don't know what's next. Spirit said, move to New York and I will show you the rest. Meaning you move first and I'm going to give you the rest of the vision later.
Yes. That's what happened to me with Atlanta. I just heard it. Atlanta. That's the next place.
Yep.
I didn't know what was happening, what was going on, but I got my shit and I left.
Yes.
The best decision I've ever made for myself. So your Bible verse moves us right into the last question of the chunk of the interview. There is no right or wrong answer to this question. Everyone has a different opinion and view. I just want to know who God is to you.
Oh, it's only 3 words. All that is.
Ooh, all that is. And that is simple. God is
all that is.
I like that. That might be my next tattoo.
Yeah, 3 words.
God is all that is. All right. Hey, well, with that, we're going to move on into current events of the week. Now, Fonz Shout out Fonz again in the back, running the backboard
Come on,
sports
Fonz.
and everything. He
Fonz is my boo.
anyway.
My boo. Wait, watch it. Go.
Fonz chose what we are going to talk to you about. He had the choice between Biden and Bernie, and it looks like he chose the Clark sisters. So, did you see the movie? You said
yes. Come on, Lifetime.
Tell me what you thought about the movie.
I just was like, Black women in particular cannot get out of the Black church unscathed. Like you just can't. You can't. It is almost like this jacked up rite of passage that if you don't have something, I just didn't know. First of all, I am very clear on the Clark sisters, but I learned, and I love trivia. I had no idea Maddie Moss Clark created the 3-part harmony in the choir. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
There were choirs running around here singing the whole song in the same voice until she came along and said alto, tenor, soprano. Split them up. Boom, boom, boom.
Get it together.
It was all sing. I was like, that lady. Anyway, I thought the movie was, it was a dramatization. But I did hear that the scene where Twinkie's soon-to-be husband pushed Maddie Moss Clark, I heard it was worse in real life.
Well, yeah, I believe that.
I think it should go to Broadway.
You say you think it should go to Broadway? Yeah,
I think they can employ a lot of banging black women singers.
I guess that hadn't even crossed my mind.
Just for some money.
That would be good.
My friend Leslie had that idea on our group thread because she just watched it last night. And she was like, why is this not going to Broadway? I was like, that is a brilliant idea.
See, I thought
I'm
a docu-series because I just feel like it was too much missing, but I would go see the Clark sisters Broadway.
Yeah, I would.
Be some good singing, all black cast. Yeah, all right.
Run the gospel for some money.
We'll see what people think. Y'all want to see Clark sisters on Broadway? We'll start a petition.
Done well. Not
done well. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Done well. Started in New York because New York is the capital of Broadway. I don't want to see no Broadway that didn't start in New York. That's just my opinion. All right, Pops, tell us what your favorite mantra is.
I think this might be a script. I am such a church kid at heart. Your gifts will make room for you.
Your gifts will make room for you. I hear that often. That is definitely, that came from the church. You are absolutely right about it.
It might be in the Bible.
My bishop says it. The deacons say it. The intercessors say it. Your gifts will make room for you. And I think that both of us are living, walking testaments of that. You don't have to take the role everybody else takes. It's not necessary. God has planted gifts inside of us, and when they are ready to blossom, oh baby, you have little control over that.
Listen, you don't have no control over that.
Now what's
you telling God, no, God, not now. God is like, child.
I have been preparing you.
Yes. Come on, Daryl Coley.
All right. I want you to shout out your black-owned business for us.
My own or other people?
Whatever you want to do.
Well, mine is the Ignorant Intellectual Group.
Yes, talk about it.
Because I am ignorant and an intellectual.
Very much so.
And like you said, it's not even like, I don't even try to curate my page to be both ignorant and intellectual. It just is how I talk. So my website is theignorantintellectualgroup.com. You can follow me on Twitter at ignorantintellectual or Instagram at ignorantintellectual. You can follow me on Facebook at ignorantintellectual.
So what do you do?
I am a racial equity strategist. So what I do is I sign contracts with companies and we develop small scale strategies to lead to large scale systems change. So basically I help companies become anti-racist.
All right. So
I look at their policies and practices and how they're upholding racism, and I help them get closer to being anti-racist.
Getting that diversity check.
Yeah. That's one thing that made me happy this week. I got a fat check in the mail. I was, thank God.
Hey, sha na 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 na
Chando.
na. Well, oh, you already told people where they can find you at on social media. Finds, can you put that up to make sure that people know the ignorant
Intellectualgroup.com.
intellectualgroup.com. Pops, that does conclude our conversation for the evening. I want to thank you for staying up past your bedtime.
You
But
already know.
before you get out of here, can we see that poster that's behind you, the one that's on the wall? I am not your Negro. Y'all see that? Yes, next to all them books. Y'all better tell them you were not that Negro. No, sir. I love you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, son.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Now we're gonna jump right into the extra. Let's talk about it and get a sneak peek into next week's guest. This week's extra. Let's talk about it comes from parents around the world. I am sick of my kids. When are they going back to school? What should I do? Now, personally, I don't feel qualified to be answering this question. I don't have no kids. But if I did have some kids, here are a few things that I just might do. Make up a game and lock them in the closet. You can probably keep them in their closet for about 45 minutes to 90 minutes. I'm just saying, I don't know, get creative. My mama once told me that she put her brother in the dryer and made up a game and he stayed there for 2 hours. So maybe that's where I get it from. Send him outside, you know? Kids don't need to be in the house. My mom used to send my ass outside. Take your ass outside. Send your kids outside. I know you don't want them to catch COVID. I understand. Give them some masks and tell them to go use their imagination. Tell them to stay in the child's place. That's my advice. Again, I ain't got no kids. And you might not want to leave your kids with me because they going to come back completely different. I am a disciplinarian and I don't play no games. We going to have fun, but we going to have fun within parameters. I'm not going to cuss them out. I'm going to give them one of these looks. But I do, for real. I'm praying for y'all and I'm wishing y'all the best because we not getting out this house no time soon. We're gonna be in this house for a few more weeks. So I really do, on a serious note, puzzles, coloring books, board games, family nights, teach them how, have them do some cooking in the kitchen, teach them how to cook, make them clean the entire house. I don't know, just don't beat them and don't kill them. That's all I ask. Don't beat them and don't kill them. Because we need the children. They are our next generation and they are brilliant. I tell you, I've had some great conversations with some 9-year-olds that know things better than most adults know. So we need the kids. Don't kill them. You woosah, go hit a joint. You go take a ride or walk around the street. Do something. I don't know. Just keep your mind sane. Don't drink too much. Y'all know. Look and make y'all go crazy. I'm telling you, you need a weed man, hit me up. I got one. And who will we be talking to next week? I am so excited about next week. Well, let me back up. If you want some advice from me, the host of Gay and Happy, Ja'Mel Ashely, please send your thoughts, your questions, your concerns, because I know you might have some concerns, to gay as in happy 20 at gmail.com. That is gay as in happy 20 at gmail.com. Next week, we will be talking with an epidemiologist who spoke at the National Democratic Convention and someone that I've dubbed as Facebook's CNN correspondent. Because if I need to turn on CNN, I'm alerted as soon as they make a post because they are always watching CNN. But he also is quite hilarious as he is intelligent. I look forward to seeing y'all next week. This has been the second episode of Gay as in Happy with your host, Ja'Mel Ashely. I will catch you next Thursday, April 23rd, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care.